Turning to page 23 of today's calendar, House Bill 834, a bill to amend and reenact various sections of the Code of Virginia relating to the Virginia Growth and Opportunity Act, creation of Virginia Growth and Opportunity Board and Fund, establishment of regional councils. Report for the Committee on Appropriations with a substitute.
Gentleman, Colonial Heights, Mr. Cox.
Mr. Speaker, I move adoption of the committee substitute.
Questions on adoption of the committee substitute. Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Substitutes agreed to. The gentleman from Colonial Heights.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is the Go Virginia bill, which I spoke on the floor probably about a week ago. I laid out the philosophy of the bill about a week ago. Let me quickly walk through the mechanics. I know it's on the uncontested calendar, but it is a fairly complicated bill. First of all, please keep in mind that the whole purpose of Go Virginia is to bottom up proposals from the business community, working in collaboration with local government, higher ed, and K-12 to come up with very innovative new ideas for that region. But the way the bill is laid out, it starts with the state council. And so it establishes the Virginia Growth and Opportunity Board. The board is established to promote collaborative regional economic and workforce development opportunities. The board, Mr. Speaker, is made up of 21 people. 11 of those are from the business community. The chair must be a member of the business community. It also has legislative representation, 4 House members, including the chairman of Appropriations, 3 Senate members, including the chairman of Senate Finance, and the governor has 3 appointments. He can choose from 5 cabinet secretaries that all sort of have a stake in business and these type of activities. So that's how the state board works. The legislation establishes the Virginia Growth and Opportunity Fund. This is a special non-reverting fund which is designated to promote and facilitate regional cooperation on economic growth and diversification. The way the fund works is that the first part of the fund, and the governor has about $5.5 million in for this, the first part of the fund is where every region, a region will generally be about 2 PDCs, but every region at that point can develop a economic roadmap where they can basically decide what are the industry clusters that would really work in our region, what are the skills gaps, so they'll do a skill gap analysis. They must do that before they can do anything else. So that's sort of how the money in the first year works. Then there'll be 2 pots of money that the state council can basically give out. One is on a per capita basis, where every region would be eligible for this money. And so whether you're rural or whether you're urban, you'd have a shot at this money. And so the regional council then would basically come up with their ideas. It should stick pretty much to their plan. They would bubble those up, and the state council would have to approve. The state council has clawback provisions and other contract provisions to make sure if the project's not going back, the Commonwealth can get its money back. The second, and by the way, there's a non-reverting piece to that piece. So if you're a region, you can be assured you get to keep your money. The second piece deals with sort of a competitive arrangement where one or more regions or different types of entities can come together and they can sort of get the second pool of money on a competitive basis. And finally, Mr. Speaker, as these proposals bubble up, they'll be scored, and the state board will score them. And they'll score them on criteria I think you will like. It will be return on investment. How much local private funding match is there? So the more match you have, the higher you'll be scored. Also, low overhead or economies of scales or cost savings you come up with. The more that you come up with, obviously the higher your score. And so that's sort of how it works. The whole theory behind it is a little bit different approach, where business is sort of working with, obviously, local government, et cetera, try to really drive some really good projects. These are sort of startup grant projects. They'll be 3 to 5 years. This is not meant to replace the Governor's Opportunity Fund. I sort of consider that a fund that basically goes after the Volvos and the Rolls Royces. This is mainly to get working together in the local regions to try to help with workforce and other collaborative projects. With that explanation, Mr. Speaker, if I could, I'd like to yield to the gentleman from Prince William, Mr. Torian, for some remarks.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I'm
Prince William,
delighted. I'm sorry.
John Prince William, Mr. Torian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm delighted to join with Delegate Cox on House Bill 834. And also I want to thank the number of co-patrons of our colleagues who have signed on to House Bill 834 as well. This is definitely a paradigm shift in our Virginia economy, and I look forward to the passage of this bill and what it will do for innovation, investment, intervention, and infrastructure here in the Virginia economy and the Commonwealth. Also, the impact that it will have on our educational system as its impact K through 12, our community colleges, and our four-year institutions. Mr. Speaker, I look forward to moving this legislation forward, and I thank you.